videographers. This beast is the full-frame Sony E-mount G-Series 16-35mm cinema lens. If you're serious about video and you're looking for a wide-angle E-mount zoom, this is the one. Big size, big weight, big price, fun name, SELC 1635G. You've looked at it. Now, let's look through it. The lens is on loan from Sony, but I'm not sponsored. Sony did not provide any financial incentive for this video. They did not review either the script or the video prior to posting, and all the other equipment you'll see in this video is my own, and my use of it does not imply my recommendation. Now, the recordings in this video, including this scene, are recorded XAVCS 4K setting 140 megabytes, 10-bit 422, but output as HEVC 8-bit for YouTube. Now, I'm using the lens mounted on a Sony a7 IV camera. That's likely not the intended match. It's probably better paired with Sony's purpose-built Cine cameras. Sony provides a slide-on lens hood and a protective case for transport with the lens. Now, it is a lens designed for video production, which means it has several capabilities and features not found on lenses, which are primarily designed for stills. On this lens, aperture is measured in t-stops, not f-stops, and aperture can be manually set with a marked ring, which has both continuous and detented action. There's a manual marked linear focus ring, and the lens is parfocal, with teeth for follow focus gears. It has a removable power zoom module, and I'll get to detail on those in a minute, but at 1.3 kilos, it's about twice as heavy as the a7 IV, and with the hood, it's 16 centimeters long, about 17 centimeters across. That means it's best mounted on rails with a support for the lens. Now, there is a lens support mount, but I didn't find an optional Sony support mount accessory. This is the small rig lens support, which doesn't use the Sony mount. And I've not mounted a follow focus controller. This lens is large, particularly with the zoom motor, so combined with the a7 IV, I did have some challenges mounting it on a tripod and rails. It was often easier to mount the camera first and then attach the lens. Lens cap's 82mm, but there's no filter mounting thread. You'll need a matte box for your ND or other filters. And the SELC 1635G is parfocal. That means the focus doesn't change or adjust when the focal length changes. Now, if you zoom in and set the focus will stay on the subject without adjustment while zooming in and out. On most stills lenses, you'll see the focus wander with every focal length adjustment. Not here. And focus on the a7 IV is excellent, and with touch rack focus, you may never need manual focus. But if manual is your jam, this lens has a manual focus clutch. When the focus ring's forward, the lens operates with all the autofocus features. Pull it back to engage the clutch and switch to manual focus. And when the ring is turned, the focus ring displays the focus distance from 28 centimeters to infinity. That's usually called linear, as a specific distance is fully repeatable. At the closest focus distance, 28 centimeters, the image area is about 20 centimeters diagonal. This subject is at 40 centimeters, this at 80, and regardless of how often or how quickly I adjust the focus ring, it hits the mark, providing a fully organic rack focus. And the aperture ring also has auto and manual capabilities. In the A position, all controls are deferred to the camera. That means when the camera is in manual exposure mode, the front dial sets the aperture, even when the aperture ring is in the A position. To keep the aperture from being accidentally misadjusted, the iris lock prevents the ring from turning if it's in the A position. So release and adjust the ring to set aperture manually. And this iris is measured in t-stops, which measure the amount of light transmitted as opposed to the size of the aperture provided by an f-stop setting. The lens sets from T3.1, the equivalent of f2.8, as indicated by the a7 IV, to T25, the equivalent of f22, and the aperture cannot be fully closed. Now, in manual aperture, the lock prevents the aperture ring from being rotated to the auto setting accidentally. Now, most cinematographers prefer a smoothly turning aperture setting. However, if you need or want a precise setting, turn click on, which engages the detents at 1/3 stops as the ring rotates. The out-of-focus bokeh at t3.1 or f2.8 is soft and nicely round, probably thanks to the 11 aperture blades. The third ring sets the focal length, and this full-frame lens has a 16 to 35mm range, an angle of view from 107 to 63 degrees. It's 1/4 turn from wide to tight. And when the A7 IV is in APS-C mode, that's the icon lower right, 1.5 crop provides the equivalent of about 24 to 50 or 83 to 44 degrees. And although the action of the lens is visible, it is internal to the lens. It retreats as you zoom in. So as I said, it's a power zoom, so set the switch to manual for manual adjustments. In servo, use the power zoom rocker on the left side of the lens. There are two speed settings, H, which takes 3 seconds end to end, and L, 20 seconds. I found H most useful, as sliding the rocker can be quite organic, providing a range of speed depending on how hard it's pushed. For those who don't appreciate power zooms, the entire zoom motor system can be removed. Interestingly, if you've turned on Sony's digital clear image zoom, the power zoom rocker will seamlessly transition from optical to digital. Nice. Here are a few samples from the footage I recorded with the 16 to 35 over the last few days. And so it is a fairly wide angle, but proved to be more versatile than I expected, and I was very pleased with the results. Now, this would be a great lens to own, but it's more lens than I can manage. If you have a need for a cinema lens like the SELC 16 to 35G, you'll likely know it, and the cost likely won't be a big factor in your decision, and I hope this helps you with that. As I said at the beginning, I'm not sponsored. The lens now goes back to Sony. Sony did not pay me, review the script, or the video before posting. And I'm supported by viewers who have decided to become members. Their support, your support, means I don't promote products or services, nor do I allow YouTube mid-roll ad interruptions. Thanks to those who are members. So if membership is for you, please use the join button below, but if not, please subscribe. That's still free, and I will not put content behind a paywall. Also, I read and reply to all relevant questions and civil comments. Thanks for watching. Stay safe.